So astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson uses science to try and justify men competing in women's sports. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Neil deGrasse Tyson attempting to use science to justify men competing against women in women's sports. Now, these men may call themselves transgender women. They may call themselves whatever kind of other random name that they want to make up. That's totally fine. Hey, you know what? I'm not against someone's identity. I'm not against LGBT people. I'm not against them at all. What I am against is when people violate other people's rights. What I am against is adult men, grown men in the bathroom, restroom, locker room with women. I think women deserve to have their own spaces, and men do as well. I would not want a young lady in the bathroom with a bunch of men just by herself. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be crazy. And the other way around, same thing for a man in a woman's bathroom. It's going to be more dangerous than anything, awkward and crazy. Imagine you're just a regular normie, minding your business, trying to go to the bathroom, and you are a woman. You're 5'3", 145 pounds, soaking wet. And then here comes this big 6'4", Hollywood Hogan looking dude in the bathroom with a dress on, looking like Miss Doubtfire. That's going to be, look, you're going to be totally intimidated. This dude's built up, hulked up, talking about I'm a woman. Okie dokie, you can believe that, but at the end of the day, you're in the wrong place. Now, when it comes to men, biological XY men competing against XX women, you're going to have all kind of advantages that go toward the man. It's to the point where women's sports will be completely negated. If men can compete, all you're going to have is men's sports and men's sports that cannot compete with the other men. It's going to be women's sports will become the JV league to men's sports. That's what's going to happen if it's allowed to continue and progress the way it's progressing because of biology, nothing else. It's not even about being a bigot. It's not even about being a hater. That's just the reality of the situation. And before I go any further, let's get to the clip here from Piers Morgan with his guest, Neil deGrasse Tyson. There's a full video, a full interview. I'll link to that in the box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Well, so you have me here live on your show. We don't have to comment on other shows. So let's just have this conversation.
Yeah.
So
now, the reason why I say that is because before this, I played a clip from a different show. So, okay, that the other show didn't count. What are you going to say right now, Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I did my own study of the relative speed of men relative to women in Olympic sports, the world records, from the 100 meters to the 200 meters, the 400, right on up to the marathon. And what I noticed is in every event, on average, men were 10% faster than women. 10% faster. And in events that require strength, that percent was even higher. I forgot what my exact number. It might have been 50% strong.
So we're on the same page. Okay, they're 10% faster, 50% stronger. We're on the same page. You're saying the same thing that we're saying, that men are going to outperform women in athletics. So far, I don't really see anything that you said that's wrong. But let's continue. Let them talk.
Okay, so across the board, that is the case. So that's not, there's no dispute there. That's just objective truth.
All right. We're off to a great start, Neil. Off to a great start.
So now we have to ask, why do we watch sports at all? Okay. And at Friday Night Lights, that's in the United States, that's high school football. Saturday, it's college football. Sunday, it's the NFL. Do you realize, of course, that the worst team ever in the NFL could wipe its ass with the best team ever in college? Why? Because every single player in the NFL was the best person in their college. And so there's no contest between these zones of athletic engagement. But
okay, so let's get to the point where you're talking about the Transformers and how that is okay and how that makes sense to compete against, let's get to that point.
We still like watching college. We don't watch college and say, the Philadelphia Eagles could whip the so let's not watch it. No, we like the equality of the contest and not knowing who would win. That's what makes sports fun. Okay, so if there's a wave of trans women who dominate the sport against other women, all those sports will become less interesting based on how we all watch sports. Even the Super Bowl here in the United States, if it's a blowout by halftime, nobody watches the second half.
Right.
We watch it for the equality of the contest. Okay, so
sounds like you agree with me there.
Exactly, exactly. I don't see a disagreement. Like, what are we talking about?
Wait, I'm almost done. So what I see is sports is on the frontier of how to handle this frontier of people who are trans. It's on the frontier of how to resolve that. And I'm making this up now. Imagine the future of sports does not distinguish sex. It distinguishes and sorts people by hormone ratios. I'm making this up, but imagine that if that were the case. That would be interesting. You get a hormone test, you're in this range, and then you compete against other people with the same range of hormones.
So are we trying to say that men and women could be on the same page athletically if they are in the same hormone range? So we're just going to deny everything else: lung capacity, bone density, muscle mass, your quick twitch muscles. All that. We're going to deny the height differences. All of that, we're going to just totally bypass. Does he think that hormones being at a certain level would equalize them? Is that what he thinks? I think not.
Ridiculous.
That's
Neil, that is ridiculous.
No, it's not. I'll tell you why it's
You're
not ridiculous.
You're going to give every single person in sport a hormone test.
Hold on. I used to wrestle. And wrestling, there are people who weigh, sorry, am I using pounds here, 125 pounds, right on up to 240 pounds. They don't wrestle each other. The entire sport separates people so that the contest is interesting.
Okay, you see, yes. Separate them based on gender and the weight class, not just weight class and then hormone levels. That doesn't make any sense, Neil. That's not how this works. That's not how science works. There's more to biology than your hormone levels, sir.
Yeah. And so the people of the same weight wrestle each other, and that is the contest.
But if Floyd Mayweather...
I don't know if that's how it will land.
Hang on, Neil. If Floyd Mayweather fought a woman boxer, a female woman boxer, who was the same weight division, he would annihilate her.
Yes.
That's why we don't let it happen.
Right. Floyd Mayweather is undefeated with the men. Like, what, 50-0? How would a woman even come close to defeating him? How would it even be a contest? Floyd Mayweather would beat the brakes off of any young lady that got put in the ring with him. It would be a complete mess. It would be like watching domestic violence. I don't want to see that on my TV screen.
In fact, in the Paris Olympics, the winner of one of the women's boxing competitions, one of the females who took her on. Well, yeah, but my point is that I just think that, if you don't mind me saying, I say this respectfully because I love you, but it just seems to me like you've dug yourself into a slight hole on this issue, and you're trying to get out of it. And now you're suggesting slightly mad theories, whereas the science to me is obvious. You've already given the best argument I've heard for why we separate the sexes.
Hold on. You misquoted me in this very interview. What I said was the idea of creating categories within a sport, splitting them in the example I gave, which I just made it up, like hormone ratios, is not fundamentally weird compared to dividing wrestlers by weight.
No, it is.
Sir, okay, so there's more, but you get the idea. And I'm sorry for the crazy freeze frames, but Neil deGrasse Tyson, you're going to tell me that the hormones are equivalent to weight classes, and that's enough to eliminate the need for gender separation? You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Didn't we see this with the swimming where you had Leah Thomas? This person is 6'4", looking like Peyton Manning out there, competing against these 5'3" women. I mean, it's just unfair. Even if it was a tall woman versus a tall man, the lung capacity, upper body strength, the body is different because the humans are different. So whatever he's talking about, trying to justify the transgenders competing against biologicals, it just doesn't really add up. And as I close, I want to say this. Why is it, I got a question. Why do we always see the transgender women compete against biological women, and we never see the transgender men compete against biological men? Why? Because there's no advantage. The women competing against the men, however they call themselves, is never going to be in favor of the women. However, if the transgender women, biological men, compete against the women, then the transgender women have an advantage because they're men. They're biological men competing against the women. That's why it's happening, and you don't see it happen the other way around, although you do have transgender women and transgender men. It's just that simple. Neil deGrasse Tyson, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where you're getting some money from and to say these things, if that's what's happening, but you're completely and totally off track here. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about what Neil deGrasse Tyson said? Hey, you know what? Let's have the trans compete against the biologicals and let's do a hormone level test. Okay, you're in a certain hormone level, then you're good to go. So are we saying that we got to have people that get put on drugs? They got to start doping? If the men can dope to get levels down to a certain amount, why can't the women dope? See, now we getting into drugs and all kind of other stuff. The best way to avoid all the drug activity is to say, all right, you're a man, you're 145 pounds. You compete against men who are 145 pounds. Women, same thing. You're 145 pounds, compete against women in the same age group, the same weight group. It's just that simple. But whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. It's really crazy. It's really ridiculous. I don't know how we got here. I don't know how this kind of thing makes any sense to discuss, but here we are. And it's happening in high school, colleges, pros, all over the place. Can we just go back to a time where we made sense, where we did logical things and did not do this kind of stuff? We're not trying to twist ourselves into a pretzel mentally to make this make sense. You know, we're doing all this extra stuff, all this heady kind of weird stuff because we're trying to justify things that do not make any common sense. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.